Okay, so today we're going to go over the quadrilateral test most missed questions. The first question that was the most missed was select all the properties that are true for a square. Now, most everybody did well with the first four answers because most people know that there's not one pair of parallel sides, there should be two sets of parallel sides. So those are the way those are. And then a square needs four congruent sides and four right angles. The last one was when people got tripped up. When bisectors intersect at a perpendicular angle, there has to be four congruent sides. So the only time that you have perpendicular bisectors are rhombuses and squares. So this is a true statement because all squares' diagonals are perpendicular bisectors. This one also got people tripped up. Which classification appears to describe both quadrilaterals? Again, it has to be both. So I understand that the one on the left does look like a square, and it is a square because it's got four right angles. But does the shape on the right have four right angles? No, it doesn't. So it cannot be a square. So I can get rid of selection A and B. Yes, both are quadrilaterals because they have four sides, but are they both parallelograms? Well, let's take a look. I know that the one on the left is because the arrows are telling me that it's got two sets of parallel sides, and the one on the right has two sets of parallel sides, so they are both parallelograms. Another one that tripped people up was which of these appeared to be a rectangle? Well, we know rectangles have 90-degree angles, so we can get rid of all the ones that do not have 90-degree angles. So the difference between A and B. Let's see, a rectangle needs 90-degree angles. B has that. A rectangle needs two sets of parallel sides. B has that. A rectangle needs opposite sides that are equal. B has that. So the ones that are rectangles are A and B, because if we remember on our family tree, if we have parallelograms, rectangles, rhombus, and square going up, up is always a square, is always a rectangle. Which of these has diagonals with perpendicular bisectors? Again, another one with the perpendicular bisectors that people got tripped up on. If you have perpendicular bisectors, you have to have four congruent sides, whether it's a square or a parallelogram or a rhombus, excuse me. So rhombus has perpendicular bisectors. All right, let's do some practice before you guys retake your test. Again, this statement, you need two false statements. So, question A, how many sets of parallel sides does a parallelogram have? Yes, it does have two, so this is a true answer. We don't want that one because we're looking for the false. Okay. Now, the next one is every quadrilateral has four congruent sides. Well, I know that quad means four, but we're looking for four congruent sides. So that would mean that not only would the squares and rhombuses have them, but the rectangles, the parallelograms, kites, and trapezoids would have to have four congruent sides. So that is one of our false ones because it says every. Okay. The next one is every quadrilateral has four angles. Well, quad means four, so it has four sides. Well, if it has four sides, it has to have four angles. So that is true. Every square is a parallelogram. Is this true? Yes, because we can see by our family tree that if we go parallelogram and square, going up, up is always. So that is true. We don't want that. All trapezoids have two sets of parallel sides. Well, we know that on our family tree, trapezoids have one, parallel have two, and kites have 0. So that is a false answer, which would mean that a square is always a rhombus. Again, going up, up is always, so that is true. Alright, so now we need to identify the classification in this figure below. First question is, does it have right angles? So, is it a square? Okay, no. The answer to both questions are no. So it cannot be a square. So I can get rid of that answer right there. All right. Does it have two sets of parallel sides? How can I tell? Yes, the arrows tell me that it has two sets of parallel sides, so it has to be a parallelogram. It cannot be a kite. Does it have four sides? Yes, it does. So I know quadrilateral is true. It has two sets of parallel sides, which we just said, so it parallelogram. But is it a rhombus? The answer is yes. Why? Because it has four congruent sides. So my answer to the question is A. It is a quadrilateral, a parallelogram, and a rhombus. Alright, so this one we're looking for which classification does not describe this figure. Does not describe this figure. Okay. Well, does it have one set of parallel sides? No, it has two sets. So this one does not describe it. Okay. A square. Does it have four congruent sides? Yes. Does it have two sets of parallel sides? Yes. Does it have four right angles? Yes. So then it is a square. So that would be true. For a rectangle, we answered the right angles. Does it have opposite sides that are equal? Yes. Does it have two sets of parallel sides for it to be a parallelogram? Yes, because of, I can tell because of the arrows. A rhombus. Does it have two sets of parallel sides? Yes. Does it have opposite sides that are equal? Yes. Does it have four congruent sides? Yes. Does it have opposite angles that are equal? Yes. So it is a rhombus. Quadrilateral. Does it have four sides? Yes. So the only thing that this is not is it is not a trapezoid. Again, if you think about our family tree, we have quadrilateral, parallelogram, rhombus, rectangle, and square, and trapezoids out here. Again, if this looks like a square, we're going to start here, and everything going up is always. So it's always a rhombus, always a rectangle, always a parallelogram, always a quadrilateral. Identify which classifications are true for both shapes. Okay. Are they both trapezoids? No. How do we know? Okay. Are they both squares? Well, again, if I have a square, rectangle, rhombus, parallelogram, so it is a square if this one is a square, and this is a rectangle. Okay. Are they both squares? Well, a square is always a rectangle, so then this would also be a square. So they are both squares and they are both rectangles. Are they both parallelograms? Yes, because they have two sets of parallel sides, and again, that's part of the family tree. Are they both rhombuses? Well, I know a square can be a rhombus, but can a rectangle be a rhombus if we go straight across? No, is not a rhombus. And yes, they are both quadrilaterals because they have 4 sides. Alright, and the last one. Again, we're going to talk about a rhombus. Does a rhombus have 4 congruent sides? Yes, it does. So we're looking for the ones that are not. Okay, do the diagonals bisect each other? Yes, they do, because we know that they bisect each other at 90-degree angles because it has 4 congruent sides. So they have to be perpendicular, right? And then, so that the only one that leaves is that. And I know that this would be a trapezoid.